It's fitting. There we go. We're in. Yes. So, my lovely friends, I am thrilled and honored to have my soul sister, Veronica Valles. How do you like to say your last name?
It's Valles. My dad's Spanish and Mexican, so and
Valle.
French. Yeah, French. And
Okay.
Valles is Spanish.
Okay. Good. Good. So, welcome, sweetheart. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. It is interesting because this morning in Dallas, it was thunderstorm and lightning at 5 a.m. and then it passed, and now it's just a gorgeous sunny day.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Happy Easter, we should say to all our Christian friends, which I'm sure that includes you, I would imagine, somewhere in there.
In my roots, yes, because I'm a new thought, minister, but I call myself a metaphysical mutt, but I have this deep, because I grew up Catholic, this deep relationship with Christ, the Christ consciousness, Mother Mary. So it is a very sacred day that I honor for all my family in whatever way people experience and express the divine.
Sure, sure. Bless you. That was very politically correct and well said, my friend. Yeah. Not having not been in the States now for something like 12 years. I was just, people can get very worked up about all that very easily, especially in the South, is my experience, bless us. So,
reminders though, Lou, because I am with Centers for Spiritual Living, we're new thought. We draw from every tradition. That's just the essence. Sure. It's spiritual philosophy. But the invitation, so when I was doing the Parliament of the World's Religions, we were trying to bring it to Dallas, and I met up with this one woman who has a very conservative background. She's like, look, I can do this. She goes, but how do I bring this to my people? And I go, bring them to the universal values of love and peace and harmony and understanding and abundance for all. I go, we don't have to argue about our own path to the divine, but let's come together in our hearts with those universal qualities of the divine that we want to experience together. So
beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, that was what Michael Beckwith gave to me. Was a church to go back into after I'd not been in one for probably 15 years or something like that. And I have to share with you, my housemate is a former priest, and today we actually, the two of us in his room, we did mass together.
Oh, wow.
And yes, so it's been a very Catholic day for me over here today, and beautiful. And I got to read one of the prayers that I've channeled and Joe transcribed, and then sang a little Bob Dylan, "I Shall Be Released." So
fabulous.
It was pretty new thought. It was pretty old world, new world, all that together. Exactly. Yeah. So, sweetheart, you're a mindfulness teacher with the kids for decades, right? How long have you been doing that now?
I call myself a peace educator, and I've been doing that since 2007. And so what happened in 2014, I licensed as a minister. So you license first, then you get ordained 3 years later with Centers for Spiritual Living. And I didn't have a pulpit. I thought I'd be a pulpit minister. And so I went into prayer. I'm like, and visioning, because Beckwith is one of my huge mentors and influencers. I'm like, okay, so what is mine to do, meaning in service? And I literally heard, teach children mindfulness.
Right.
Because I've been doing Season for Peace and Nonviolence, I've been in the schools, it was natural, and I'm a favorite aunt. It was just natural to do so. And so for the last 6 years, I've come in as a community partner, meaning my nonprofit provides for free at certain East Dallas schools mindfulness. And then my key campus has been the one that literally is 3 minutes from me. And so it really has been a powerful way to bring skill sets to our kids that are secular, where they understand, one, how their brain works, how their heart is powerful, so the heartfulness, their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, so they're connecting within and starting to understand this inner world, and that difficult emotions are just difficult, but just trying to calm the brain what's in that fight mode or fright or flight, and then how to connect in compassion and empathy with other people, and then a lot of gratitude, loving kindness. It's been a phenomenal practice for me. So I'm 56. But the kids think I'm 30 because they have no concept of age. I'm like, I love y'all. But I literally sit on the floor in a circle in the classrooms. We sit for 20 minutes, and I have a student to my left who rings us in hello, student to my right that rings us in goodbye, and we practice together. And because of the shelter in place, we're now practicing online via Zoom room, which is not the same, but it allows us to stay connected. So it's my way of bringing these essential skill sets that you and I didn't have as children into a world, so that literally we create a world that works for everyone, because they'll be more conscious.
Yes,
They'll have this.
yes. Yeah, no, that's good. Go ahead, finish your thought there.
Well, no, that's it. I mean, I'm just grateful that that's what downloaded for me. And as a community partner, it's given me a lot of flexibility. And the former principal, Dr. Jennifer Karen Jackson, who left to go take principalship in Fort Worth, where she lives. I mean, she and I, it was like a divine appointment where we literally connected her first year as a principal. And literally it was all orchestrated for us to work together for 4 years to really make it a part of the landscape and culture of the school. And it is. I have kids now anchoring their parents in mindful breathing. It's like, it's teaching them.
Yes. So yes, this is what I really want to get into here, among a dozen other topics with you, since we haven't, what has it been? A couple of years, I think, since we've chatted.
It's been quite some time, because it's weird. I looked at that last session I actually went in that you and I talked was 2017. I'm like, there's no way. It was,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you've been a busy lady, and I've probably been a busy boy. So there we go. Yeah. Brilliant. But hon, yeah. Veronica, for parents who are at home with their kids, mm-hmm. and they're looking for tools and mm-hmm. This kind of thing, what can you share with them about doing mindfulness online, or any resources, or if you have any time in your own schedule to work with this?
There's a lot of great resources. So mindfulschools.org is a phenomenal training place, and also Mindful Life Project, J.G. La Rochette. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but you can find a lot of resources online. And the key thing is, especially with parents, because they're feeling stressed and overwhelmed with this at-home learning, is to connect in the breath. Because mindfulness is present moment awareness. The only thing that's present is my body and my breath. My mind will wander from future, past, imagination, present, fear to love. And the key thing is that circular breath. So to get that practice of basic mindful breathing and to anchor in the moment is going to be the key for the kids and the parents, and for them to do it together. There's a lot of videos on YouTube. Julie Baer Salzman has a video called Just Breathe that I always begin my classes with. So it's showing children and adults anchoring in their breath like a glitter jar, settling in the moment.
Right.
I'm available. I teach during the day, but if people are interested, they can always email me at mainstreammindfulness.com, because I haven't done a lot of outreach yet, because I'm trying to make sure my teachers are supported and my kids are supported. But the key thing really is present moment awareness. What am I feeling? And the emotion lands in the body. Where am I feeling it? How many breaths do I need to take to one presence it? I'm not trying to bypass it, but my brain, it's flipping its lid. It's like it's in fear mode, and I've got to calm and connect and redirect my thought before I can even have a chance to speak it. So neuroscience is when you name it, you tame it.
Yes.
And then for positivity, and when you name it, you claim it. You know, we want to create those neural connections. So it's really the breath, the connecting, the sitting, the whatever to redirect your thoughts and your attention to the moment.
Brilliant, brilliant. And honey, you work with, I've just put those links in the comments there. And you've worked with kids, you know, as you said, for the last 13 years, 17 years, 16 years.
6 years for mindfulness, 13 years for peace education.
Great, great. So what are you seeing, or what do you want to share with parents about helping kids to move through this great challenging time that we're all in?
Well, it's for both of them, parents and children, together.
Right. Okay.
That they do mindfulness practice together. Parents have to see, my kids are trained. That's the beautiful thing, is I've been at that school for 5 years.
Yeah.
And so my fifth graders have had me for quite some time. And the little ones remember that I literally empower them to be mindful leaders, where they're going to tell their parents, hey, you're looking a little stressed, you want to breathe. So the conversation I have with people who don't have mindfulness is find some way to get connected to it online and get a simple practice. But parents have to also identify their feelings, their needs, use their breath to calm, recognize like, hey, mommy's starting to flip, or daddy is overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I need to step aside and breathe, and come together as a family, like in real honesty about what they're feeling, like presence the feelings. And then at the same time, let's breathe, let's calm, and we're going to create something good out of all this. This may not feel good. Now, a lot of people are okay. I'm okay through September. I'm like, yeah, I've got funding through September. My cousin has lost her entire business. My niece got laid off. My other cousin's on the verge of getting laid off. There's a lot of people and families struggling. And so we got to presence that. But it's the connecting as a family and creating a ritual or just what I call a mindful moment where they sit and breathe and connect and calm is a powerful way to presence what's happening, presence their feelings, and then come together in a more positive way of navigating all this, because we're in uncharted territory.
Sure.
It's uncharted for all of us.
Sure. Brilliant. It's true. The message I have been getting from my guides and from other teachers, and you're adding to it here beautifully, is that the shift that we're experiencing right now is, of course, that we must learn to look within and have a center inside of ourselves where no matter what we're confronting or fearing or etc., we can let that go temporarily and come back to a place of peace and be grounded in that, be centered in that, be rested in that. And then when we really give ourselves back to peace, back to God, back to love, then we can come back into our mind and into the world renewed and refreshed and able to make some sense out of everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly it. So I'm 56. So when I turned 30, I'm sure I saw you at Agape. I mean, I don't know when you left, but I would drop in at Agape, but I didn't immerse myself in the teachings. But I was working in the film industry, and I got deathly ill at 30 with chronic fatigue, immune dysfunction syndrome. Okay. And literally, I was in fear mode for years because everything collapsed. I lost my job, I lost my house, I lost my relationship. I had to come back to Dallas. Now, in the moment of that fire, I would not have believed you had you said, hey, at 56, this is what you'll be doing. You're going to be okay. And by the way, you're going to meet all your nieces and nephews, and they're going to be like the reason that you're coming home. Right. And so the reminder that in the moment to presence that fear. But then I remember being so sick. And yet at the same time, I kept claiming I'm perfect, whole, complete. Abundance is my nature until it actually unfolded. The reminder is we get to co-create our reality. We are being called to something new. Normal was not normal. Right. Light, like there's this huge spotlight on the inequity and the realization of, especially we as a culture in America, the overwork, just the inability. Like I'm watching parents walk around the block and they're like, oh my God, we never used to do this because we were so busy. To slow down. And like you said, within and be still. And whatever people's faith is, that's your touchstone. That's your key places in your heart. So it is it's a critical time in our evolution for us to mindfully and consciously presence it. But we are being called to create something new. Literally something new together. That's right. Beautiful. Well, whatever you want to chat about here. I mean, the floor is yours, my friend. You've got a lot to share with us. I'm happy to hear anything. Let's do 3 mindful breaths. Anytime that my kids come together, we anchor, and the anchor just brings us present to the moment. Like I said, my mind is going to wander from future to past, present, imagination, worry, and all that. And with the breath, we're literally that circular breath. So when I breathe in through my nose intentionally, and then I breathe out through my mouth, that circular breath, that slowly. And like my diaphragm's like a balloon, like literally it's like I'm, breathing deeply. I'm telling my brain all is well. And I'm kicking in my parasympathetic nervous system, like the brakes. And so the deep breaths calms us. So we do 3 just to anchor, like a boat dropping its anchor at the lake. It's just to pause, to be still. So we're going to anchor in 3. We'll just sit for a few breaths. So I'll ring it in. It's actually going to be 6 bells, but 3 breaths. We'll just sit for a few breaths together with our eyes closed. The kids anchor their body because we're connecting our head, our heart, our hands, and our body for learning. But it's either on your heart and on your belly. I don't know because I'm sitting too close to my computer, or on your laps. But just attune to the body, which is present, attune to the breath, and then just with every breath, just allow that settling, just like a glitter jar, just for a moment. All right.
Yep.
So I invite everybody, if they feel comfortable, to close their eyes and focus on the breath and just notice what it feels like. Is it hot? Is it cold? But just breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Here we go. So breathe in And as you slowly breathe out, allow that exhalation just to be a little bit longer. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out, keeping our eyes closed just until you hear the sound of my 3 bells again. Let's just anchor in our breath and our hearts, bringing our awareness to this present moment. Allowing ourselves, if we're in a safe place, to recognize that we are in a safe place, so gratitude for that. So breathe in. Breathe out. I'll be quiet just for a few more breaths together. With every inhalation, breathe in love. With every exhalation, breathe out gratitude. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Simple.
Thank you. Yes,
So simple.
yes, lovely. Thank
Yeah.
you for that. Thank you for that, Veronica. And of course, loving the bird song there.
Yeah,
Those
can
are,
you hear it? Yeah, I was just
yes,
thinking that.
yes,
And so
yes.
I use Insight Timer. I just want to show people,
Okay.
just put it like, so when we have the kids, we'll
Yeah.
sit for 3 minutes. So that way you don't have to worry about time. But the more that we're able to sit, it just allows the nervous system literally to relax.
Sure.
And allows
Sure.
us to be present and calm. And from that place, then from a neuroscience perspective, so the amygdala is that little, we call it the security guard, that part of our brain that does the fight, flight, and fright. Well, we want to be in our prefrontal cortex and also our heart. And that type of deep breathing literally aligns us so we can make better decisions, focused, relaxed. Even in a time of stress, we can be more intentionally present.
Beautiful.
So the invitation, I would say, during this time is to presence the emotions. Just name them. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling worried. I'm feeling confused. I value certainty, safety, clarity, understanding, whatever it is. And then in that centered place, then make a choice. And
Yes.
sometimes it's just to hang out. Like we don't
Sure.
need to have a big to-do list or creative list. Like everybody's doing their creative projects. And I just feel like we're being called globally
Yeah.
to connect deeper. It is
Oh, yeah.
a fascinating time in human history in this
Sure.
lifetime.
Sure it is. Sure it is. Yes, darling. Thank you. It is unique. Yeah, we've all been sent to our rooms without our supper and asked to think things over.
Yeah.
You know.
I tell my friend Jody, I feel like I'm in my Himalayan cave, but I have better amenities.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And as you can see this way, you can see my altar here.
Yes.
And so I join in prayer at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. There's collective prayer. Because on April 4th, when we had the global meditation and they showed the Schumann resonance, there was a huge spike. But we need that love and light every day.
Yes,
we need this dance every day of adding our love and our light in the affirmative, not in looking at what's wrong. No, what are we being called to co-create?
Yes,
with spirit, with life, with each other. And I feel like this has been the biggest call to compassion and connection, community and cooperation.
Yes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I actually started an 808 group with my friends on my visit to Denmark a year ago, and we would do that, pray for each other for 8 minutes every morning.
Oh, I love that.
And, yeah. So you feel free to borrow that if it's at all exciting. I like doing it twice a day. I think that is a brilliant way to do it, and I quite agree with you that group meditation around the planet, just about love and peace and compassion is, as we know, is extraordinarily powerful. One of the quotes that came through in my channeling is, "My guide said, peace is my new superpower."
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I always say kindness is our superpower. Mindfulness is a superpower. Yes, peace and love. That's our superpower. It
Yes.
really is. And how perfect for Easter, because those were the essential teachings of Christ.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
Support, care for one another. Do as him greater. Like he commanded us to do as him greater. And that's why I feel like no matter what your faith tradition is or background or no faith and just your present moment awareness, we are being called to come from our hearts.
Yes.
And then bring our minds, like in heart math, bring our mind, our brain in coherence with our heart. But we are being called for peace to be our superpower, love to be our superpower. I'm wired for kindness. I'm just grateful I have my mother's heart, my grandmother's heart. I'm wired for kindness. I'm wired for that. And so I know that's, having this opportunity, because I do live alone, it's become a deep prayer time. At first it was very disconcerting. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not going to school and I can't go hug my nieces and nephews. And I do go see my mom. I check in on my mom and dad. Right. And then I had a download. I posted on Instagram because I'm sitting in the quiet and it was overcast and I was just looking around and the silence was so palpable because I'll listen to music, but I don't really watch TV. I have my computer. I'll do some Netflix every once in a while. But all of a sudden it felt like an angel tapped me, like this presence that just like something landed. And then I heard, this is your place of light, meaning you're being called to prayer, to lift and to release and shine a light on the shadows, but don't get entangled with all that. Don't get entangled with the negativity of the politics and the this and that. No, we got to come together. Yes, be mindful, be aware, as citizens of every country, call to action, call to responsibility, but it is going to be love and peace that's going to lead the way. Yeah. So it's a unique time for all of us, and just grateful that we still have a internet connection.
Oh my yes. Yes. Can you imagine if that goes down? We'll all be really wondering what to do. Yeah, but no, I love what you're saying, and this is New Thought for people that don't really understand New Thought, is to be aware of the differences, but don't judge, and be in your heart and know the truth, as they say at Agape, which is, the truth is God sees all of us as perfect, whole, and complete. Yes. Of course, it's also the Course in Miracles, and there are so many, you and I know how blessed we are that we have just a feast of teachers and teachings and resources and relationships to remind us. And I love what you're saying, Veronica. You've just really done so much inner work on yourself, clearly, and you're deeply centered and grounded in that truth of love and peace and compassion. And it's about fine tuning. For a lot of people who don't understand how powerful our words are and how powerful our thoughts are, and like you're saying, stay out of the arguments, stay out of the drama, stay out of the fear, be aware of what's happening, but don't feed anything that you don't want more of, basically, isn't it?
Exactly. And to be kind to ourselves, because like I tell people, I go, I'm an ordained minister, but I'm not a saint. I didn't sign anything saying I signed up for sainthood. I'm not perfect. I've had challenges with things, and it's like, especially this one relationship that I thought was going to be that relationship. And it's just like, so it's like present human difficult emotions. Yes. And then the level of awareness is that if I do react from a place of hurt, then I'm immediately accountable. And that happened last week. And it's just like, oh, wait a minute. I really apologize. I'm coming from a place of hurt because I really value love and connection. And so it's not about being perfect. It's not about, giving ourselves a hard time if we're having a very human moment. But it is that realization that we're more powerful when we are coming from a conscious place, that 5D place that my friend Jody talks about, and then bringing that light and kindness and softness to myself first. Sure. And then, it's okay to be scared. I just have a need for my family's safety. I have a need for everybody's abundance. It's okay to feel this. So in mindfulness, there's a video of the red wolf and the blue wolf, and the red wolf's just difficult emotions: jealousy, anger, hurt. Blue wolf is the positive ones, and it says, who are you going to feed? Which one are you going to feed? Sure. But we don't deny the red wolf. We just don't feed it. So the more that we practice, the more that we connect, and the more that we're just honest. It's like my mantra is meet me in the present moment in truth. That's all. Meet me in the present moment in truth. So we're not perfect, but I just saw my video just, here we go. So just like presence it, do the best of our ability.
Sure.
And lift each other up.
Yes. Well, all right. So this is beautiful, honey. This is what. Thank you. This is what I see. Um, this is what I see as one of the big challenges, like you've
Mhm.
touched on there, is self-honesty and emotional self-responsibility and self-awareness, and
Yeah.
the willingness to fill up our own cup before we're taking care of everyone else.
Yeah.
I look at and of course, like we're saying here, our life relationships is what our lives are basically built around. And as teachers and healers and artists, we all want to give a lot. We all want to share a lot. We want to help a lot.
Mhm.
We want to support a lot. And as you said, the whole hamster on the wheel paradigm of go 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 do has stopped. And it's good even for us healers to like go, am I really walking the talk, and am I really treating myself the way I want to invite others to treat me, and treating them the way I'm treating myself? These kinds of questions.
Exactly, exactly. I think of the Flintstones, that cartoon. Remember how they drive their cars and they slam on the brakes with their feet? And that's what we literally been like, because it came on so fast here in Dallas. Like literally, we were getting ready for spring break, and that Friday before spring break, we may not come back immediately. So get stuff to the kids. And all of a sudden, it was that next week. It was like, bam. I mean, everybody was in overwhelm, and I was grateful I was able to presence what I was feeling, make sure my parents were okay, but also be there in support of teachers, because it's a huge, the brakes were put on.
Sure.
We're not
sure.
going anywhere.
Sure.
You got to
Sure.
be here, and there will be a lot of revelations for a lot of people. If you're in a relationship you don't want to be in, it's in your face right now. If you make choices out of fear or procrastinate, it's like, don't judge it, but just say, okay, when this is complete, because it will pass. And that's a reminder, this too shall pass. It's not going to last forever. That's what we have to tell our brain. But in this moment, what are my choices? Can I speak with clarity and honesty and truth and love? If I need to release, can I release with grace? Can I listen to the vision that's being revealed? And then, and simply, like I'm always outside, go outside. Go be grateful for the simple things that we do have. And then, of course, once we're back in normal, there'll be a great appreciation for going to be able to have coffee with our friends, for getting our hair cut, stuff like that, things that we take for granted, and going out to dinner and just being present. And so my thing is, there's no time, and there's no time to wait. It's now. I think that's the biggest thing. It's now, right now.
Sure. Yes, the eternal moment of now. Do you listen to Patricia Cota-Robles and her
Yes,
videos?
whenever you posted. I haven't listened to the last couple, but yeah, she's fabulous.
Yes. So she's Joe and I have been doing the Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey meditations, the 21 days that they do. Do you know about that one?
Which ones are you doing?
We're doing Hope.
Okay, good. I haven't done that one yet. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a Hope in Troubled Times, I think is what they're calling it. We're on about day 10 here. But I just want to add to this, like we're saying here, one of the, I'll find it and send it to you rather than search for it right now. But one of the messages from Patricia was about, the crucifixion, the resurrection, and Easter and all that, and saying literally that, Jesus died to his carbon bodied third dimensional self and was reborn in his crystalline bodied fifth dimensional self, which I know for some people may not, tick their little box or light their candle. But for me, it was like, okay, that's easy. I get that. And of course, this is, if people study her material over the last few years, this is absolutely what she's talking about. And part of the healing crisis of the coronavirus is that it seems to be getting us, like you said earlier, Veronica, to release a lot of fear, a lot of grief, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of unconsciousness. And I just want to talk about grief here with you for a moment, because that's something I'm very conscious of. With these shocking numbers of people getting sick and dying, and the medical staff being overwhelmed. I think you and I are going to be having a lot of grief conversations with people over the next 6 months and beyond.
Absolutely. We have to presence that because it is a shock. From just a human level, my family keeps texting me, from a human level.
You're very popular, obviously.
I sent them an Easter text before. I'm like, why did I do that? Because I love them. But from a human level, we have 78,000 new angels, if not more. And yet the people who are connected to them are in grief and mourning. And then I had a friend, her son did not die from the coronavirus. He had this autoimmune disorder, but suddenly was in ICU and transitioned. And so the challenge is really, it's like, how do I presence my human experience? Even though I'm very metaphysical and I understand about, I've had my own literal downloads and connections of past lives, present moment awareness. So I understand about the immortality of the soul, but at the same time, I've got a presence that in this moment, a large number of beings have transitioned and transcended. And the grief of what was, even in our basic lifestyle, which, some of it was not good and we need to release, but just like the ability to connect when we want to connect and go to the store we want to the store, and to allow ourselves just to walk with that and to allow it. Because the last stage of grief, when I was at this grief retreat with Marianne Star, I kept thinking the last stage, and they're not stages, they're not linear, the anger and the on the bargaining and all that. The last stage is acceptance, because I kept thinking it was release. I'm like, no. And so what came to me literally was a download from Mother Mary was acceptance just means to let it be. In the moment, if I'm feeling sad, let it be. Let me offer this to something greater, because there is a lot of grief that's happening, and people are going to still be in shock. So it's not going to get them. And I have a teacher who lost her daughter years ago in a car accident, and grief will always walk with people. But it's how do we presence it? How do we allow it to reveal that it just means we really, really loved?
That's right, honey. Grief shows how deeply we care is the line from my guides. Beautiful.
And at this retreat, the way that it was 12 of us, it was the last retreat for Marianne Star at Casa de Sol. She'll be doing bigger ones. It was phenomenal. It was writing for grief and loss and transformation. And it's from all things of life: loss of your job, loss of a relationship, loss of family members. But it was just that presencing it and allowing it to flow. And then to hear the writing of people that literally was just so, for me, overwhelmingly beautiful in the depths of the pain and the depths of the love that was present. It was a testament to love, which is what grief is.
That's right. Yeah, that's beautifully said, hon. It's like our hearts have to break in order to break open. And I really feel like that is what humanity has called forth out of this experience is, how the other phrase, the work that we've done in our own lives, confronting and healing our shadow. Now the world is doing that work. And they'll do it in their time, in their way, and they'll hold on or they'll let go, just like we hold on and let go, as you're just saying there so beautifully. But we know as guides on this journey with people that another phrase from my guide, they said recently when all this started, they said, in your caring is your destiny. And like we're saying, what we care for, who we care for, how we express our caring, how deeply we do or otherwise, all of that is what sets the tempo of our service, of how big a role we get to play out in the world.
Exactly. And then, and even those who are unable to connect for whatever is going on with them internally, that we don't personalize it, that we still hold people in love and kindness. Because through the loving kindness practice with children, may I be safe and healthy and happy and joyful. Then we do it for others and we do it for the world. And we're all navigating this to the best of our abilities with the skill sets that we have. And so when I had this one counselor who, she was talking about a parent, and it was just confrontational. And I looked at her, I go, it's just unskilled behavior. And she looked at me, she goes, that's a great way to say that, skilled or unskilled. And so, we have to navigate this with our heart and allow people to process the way that they process. And also, I'm going to be very honest, if we have to set certain boundaries, it's like, no, we're not going to talk about that right now. I'm not going to get lost in certain conversations, but to the best of our abilities, just like you so eloquently said, presence it and walk with it. And we are the ones we've been waiting for. You know, my 10-year journey was like a 10-year retreat.
Sure.
Living in Los Angeles initiated me deeply in different spiritual practices, and attending Agape, even though I wasn't a member there, and then all the things of the Bodhi tree and all the, you know, body, mind, soul conferences, all the people I met. I just look at that path, every place that I was led, and then the teachers in New Thought here in Dallas. And it has prepared us for this so that we can hold that sacred space, you know, for ourselves and for others.
Yeah. Beautiful. You know, I mean, you're really taking me down memory lane when you're talking about all of that. Of course, it's wonderful. You know, we have been so blessed, both of us and many, many others, because we've been drawn to these teachings and teachers, and you know, they've really helped us to heal our own lives and to connect with spirit, you know, in our own hearts, and find ways to help people learn how to do that, to listen to, trust, and follow our hearts, as my guides say. And you know, it's just the world that is going to be born out of this. Particularly, I can imagine, or perhaps I can't imagine, but I think a lot about being a teenager in the world right now. Joe has 3 kids at home, my partner Joanne, and one is 21, another is 18, and the other's 14. And you know, for the older ones, they had college right in their sights. One would have moved away, and the other was about to. And this has really, you know, thrown them for a big loop. And you know, so the creativity and the connecting together, like we're saying here, you know, is going to be really profound in ways we can't even imagine yet. And I'm excited to see what comes out of all this for all of us.
Exactly. And my nieces and nephews had to come home from college too, you know, and 2 of them were freshmen, one was a sophomore. And they're like, you know, they were used to their college life, their independence. But I had one nephew who, because of the loss of jobs, that all these adults were coming in having to take jobs like stocking at Natural Grocer, our store here. But Vincent's now doing podcasts. Like, he's learning how to do podcasts while he's still doing college online. And we are just, really, the invitation is just to tune in and listen. And it's a really precious time. We will not collectively have this time together. And because we were willing to do the work, you and I and all those who do, it's messy. All right. When I did Inward Journey, which is like our 9-month course before you become a practitioner, which is like the spiritual coach and the prayer people at Centers for Spiritual Living and Agape, that 9-month course, if you did not have a week where it almost felt like you're throwing your ego like eggs up against the wall, then you weren't doing the work.
Sure.
And it was just like, because we were willing to be in the discomfort and the shadows and the messiness and still love ourselves. And I'll never forget, every class I took at Centers for Spiritual Living was so sacred because there was never judgment. No one ever judged each other, because we're like, we're in this to presence it, but if we have to do the work ourselves, and then we come together. Because when people say I can't, I'm like, you know, honey, I love you, but just say you don't want to. Like, just be honest. Like, I'm not going to judge you, but just say I don't want to. You know, I can't. No, I really don't want to. All right, and that's okay. But if you expect your life to change, and it's not about digging the past, but sometimes it's just like being authentic and honest and shining a light and saying yes. And it's not about shame or blame. It's just about. So from learning all this wisdom that's revealing, what do I want to co-create for my life and then those around me?
Sure.
And really, what do I need to let go? Because if it hasn't worked up to this point, it's a loving release. So it's an interesting journey. So I'm blessed that I can hold that sacred space for people, you know, as a minister for Centers for Spiritual Living, but even just people I meet on the streets. I'll literally be at CVS and have a conversation with someone, and that's what they needed to be mirrored to them, to be held in love and to be seen without judgment. We get to be that.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, you know the lines from the Course in Miracles where they say, where shall I go and what shall I do and who shall I talk to? You know, it's like giving ourselves to God every day, you know, and I'm doing all these lovely videos. I'm so excited about connecting with you and everyone who's on the path here, you know, and you're doing your work, your prayers twice a day, and your mindfulness online, and all of this. You know, it's a call to authenticity, you know, and most people don't love themselves because they really are alienated from who they really are.
Yes. Can I share a quick story about that?
Yes, of course.
Yes. This was Center for Spiritual Living, Dallas. Oh my God, it was so many years ago. And so people who did not know me, so this was around 2007, didn't understand that I had experienced a long-term illness, like literally. And then at this point, it's like a 25-year financial loss. I lost everything. So they didn't understand why. This one woman didn't understand why I was so joyful. All right. I did for 10 years. Now, I was grateful I had my nieces and nephews, but I didn't have friends because my friends were in LA. Or I couldn't travel, couldn't do any of that. So when I started getting well, and I found them in 2003, and then I dove into being of service, and then I started taking classes. Well, I got everybody to dance on the front row. So we were the dancers, right?
Right.
So this woman I won't name because we're friends now, but she looked at me back then. She's like, "Oh my God, who is that woman?" Like she couldn't stand me, she said. And then and thank God she didn't tell me that. And then she realized one day, as I was out there with my friends dancing, it hit her. I'm not being authentic to myself. She's being authentic to herself.
Right.
And I'm not allowed. Like it suddenly hit her. So
yeah.
Years later, she told me that story. And she goes, I had no idea you've been sick. I just had this judgment about you. But I realized it was because I was not allowing myself to express freely. She goes, I could tell you didn't care. You were dancing with everybody. You were celebrating the divine. And it is that embracing our authenticity. This is the way, at least my belief system, and your understanding too, this is the way that the divine, God, whatever you want to call it, expresses in, through, and as us. We're like these little beautiful drops of the sapphire ocean of love. And so authenticity is key. It's key.
Sure.
Like I tell my nieces and nephews, I go, these gifts are not yours. They're coming in through and as you to gift to the world. So they're essential. They're essential to share.
Yes. Yeah, honey, that's gorgeous. That's absolutely beaueful. No, I'm happy to wind you up and let you go. I'm enjoying what's unfolding here very much. Yeah, no, it's a delight. I mean, honestly, people love Michael Beckwith, like we're talking about Rev Michael, and he's come such a long way, in his own life, and he had a desperate time in his life, when he was. I mean, he's told the story, so I think it's fair game that he was selling weed in college or drugs or whatever it was, and he got arrested. And they were gonna put him away for some serious time because of this. And he said, "If there's a God, get me out of this." Yeah. And the next thing he looks up, and the charges have been dropped, and he doesn't know what's happened. And so he walks out the front of the courtroom, and he says to himself, "If there's a God, show me a sign." And the wind that was blowing in one direction with a weather vane across the street stopped blowing, blew in the other direction, and the weather vane pointed right at him. And that was his, do you know that one? That was his awakening moment. For me, it really was this Kundalini experience when I turned 30, I'm 63 now, and I still feel like I'm 16 inside, and I'm still having a lot of fun and looking for more trouble to get into and people to help and all sorts of things to enjoy about life. So I mean, we've pressed the cosmic reset button together. Somewhere humanity all agreed and said, yes, we will do this together. And it is it's the opportunity of many lifetimes, I think, for us to grow and to heal and to awaken. And it's there's so much joy in all this as well.
Yeah. And there's also for those who have lost their jobs or don't have the funding, or like my niece got laid off, it's an opportunity to then allow yourself to receive, to actually ask and receive, because you can't, it's a reciprocal dance. With the inhalation, there's an exhalation. Yeah. And what I'm watching is the way the world's coming, like Elizabeth Gilbert just did like this dance, like to raise money for this other author who's raising money to feed people, literally. Wow. And so being creatively to support each other, but to also learn to receive as we give.
Yes, that's a brilliant point, and thank you for saying that, because we will all be in need at some point, and we have there's I'm just going to get very American with you for a second, Veronica, because I don't get to do this every day. So there's the American dream that we all grow up under, which is rugged individualism and people pulling themselves up by their proverbial bootstraps. We've heard it 1,000 times. Yeah. Excuse me. And then there is this huge course correction that is happening in our lifetime, Marianne Williamson has said it as beautifully as anyone else, where she said basically, look, in the Jewish tradition, they say every generation has to have its own connection to God. It can't ride on the previous generation's connection to God. It has to have its own. And so she's saying, in America and in human history, the scoundrels take over and think they're better than everyone else, and the rest of us go along with it for a while until we say, no, that's enough.
Yes,
and
that's the key point. Yes.
Right. Okay. So, I listened to Michael Moore. I listened to Marianne Williamson. I listened to this new chap about the crisis and the economics, Christopher Martinson. There's a lot of bright lights in America, of course, and throughout the world, who have vision. And my guides have been saying 2020 is the year of vision.
Yes, exactly.
Okay?
Exactly. Really is, we're clearing it out, it is. And it's what you said is that it was that false notion of that rugged individualism and materialism, because I never bought into that dream. I've always been this physical, mystical, spiritual mud. I believe in abundance, but not this materialistic like that. I've never tried to fill a God-sized hole with anything other than God. Right. And I'm not pushing people to do, but the disparity that's happening, especially the kids that I know and I see having worked in schools that are living in poverty, the prison, the school to prison pipeline, like all the inequity, it's a rising up, and it's like, well, where are we complicit in that? Yeah. All right. Why aren't we holding people accountable, elected officials accountable, or coming together? And it's like, and how do we create from a different space of beingness? And like I was a community service director for 7 years, and I go, I can't do everything, but every little thing I do adds to the greatest good. So when I do fundraisers for my nonprofit, because I have to raise my own salary, Facebook, I just send it to everybody because you don't know, and people are like, oh, I can't contribute. I'm like, that's okay, just pray on it. Sure, like even your prayers, and
I'm with you, sweetheart. Yeah, that's it.
Or if you send $5 here and $5 there, but it's like we're being called to be creative and collaborative and cooperative, and that image was such a big illusion. That image, our responsibility as Americans for what's happening in the world, and a lot of people, I didn't do that. I'm like, no, I didn't either. I go, but government did. So what are we going to do to heal Mama Earth? Because Mama Earth has demanded and commanded this pause.
Sure. That's well said. Yeah, that's well said.
It's interesting on so many different levels, and bringing it to, people are now relying on our local farmers more. Really, the simplicity of being, and that money is an agreement that we've made. It's an exchange. So like my Balinese money is really pretty, and in Bali I'd be wealthy, but here it's just pretty paper. And so it's like, what kind of new agreements are we being called to that are reasonable? Because wealthy people do not become, when somebody says that they're a self-made millionaire, I'm like, I know they're not. They had the idea, which we're grateful for. It took people to come together to create it, to participate, to sell it, to buy it. So we really are connected. Connected. And so something's going to happen with this new web of connection to lift us all, and to take care of Mother Earth and each other and our neighbors.
Oh, it's true. It's true. I think of the quote from Gandhi, who says, "There's enough for everyone's need, but there's not enough for everyone's greed."
Yes, I love that. Yeah, exactly.
And Bono has a line about a God-shaped hole inside of us. That's where I've learned that term. And you're saying it so well. And of course, I want to say also, this is definitely about the indigenous cultures of the world being heard from with deep respect and reverence, who've been holding that space for honoring Mother Earth. And all life is sacred. And of course, it's the same for the women and the mothers, the wives, etc., of the world, who are the caregivers and the birthers and the nurturers and the looker afters and the wiper uppers and all of those things. Right.
Yeah.
And that the women of the world, need to have an equal voice and equal power in the world, and equal earnings for their work, and equal respect for their gifts and talents and abilities. And it's definitely a whole new ball game, as they say in America.
Divine Feminine Rise. I'm going to get this book because this is who I went on my retreat with.
Okay.
I think it must have been 2 years ago when Wonder Woman came out. I did a 4-part series on Wonder Woman.
Wow.
And the first one was Divine Feminine Rises, the Power of Love. Because if you watch Wonder Woman from the perspective of the 4 themes that Patty Jensen did, it's phenomenal. And the Divine Feminine Rising is a rising in men also, but it is rising in women. It's that aspect within us of, like we talked about, community cooperation. The Mirabai Star, Wild Mercy, this is a phenomenal book. Her writing is exquisite. She did the translations of St. John of the Cross and Teresa of Avila. She taught for 20 years, I think, in Taos, the university there. She's all about interspirituality, but this is about living the fierce and tender wisdom of the women mystics. So the divine feminine, the women mystics of the past, but contemporary. But it's also like the work of Brene Brown for men to be able to tap into that divine feminine. I did a service with Daring Greatly, the book, years ago in Austin, and these grown men are crying because she's calling people to vulnerability and authenticity. And when they came to thank me, I'm like, don't thank me, thank Brene Brown. But men were not allowed to have their feelings. So the divine feminine is rising to harmonize. To harmonize the healthy. We want to bring in the healthy divine masculine. Right. Which is why you're seeing the light on the shadows of all that has been happening. And it's like, but where are we going to co-create from? What space? What consciousness? It's a cultivation of our consciousness. But this is a fact. I've already read it twice. I can't show it to you because it's like, well, hang on, let's see, where's my camera? Like, you'll see all the lines and look, all my things flying out. I mean, it's just a phenomenal book. But it's like you said, we're being called to that deeper listening, that connecting, that heartfulness.
Empathy.
As men and women, and as women are rising, it's not about, because I used to see this in the film industry, it's not about being that toxic masculine either as a woman. Sure. Some female CEOs, it's like, no, heal. Heal here. And then bring forth those qualities of the divine feminine with the higher qualities of the divine masculine, the strength and, the vision. And then that's what's going to shape our new world, all of us.
Yep. That's right. That's brilliant. My guides have said, and you've heard this probably from me more than once, men are allowed to be angry, but can't be sad. And women are allowed to be sad, but can't be angry. So men need to open their hearts and grieve, like you're saying. I know that one personally very deeply at this point. And women need to find their voices and be able to speak up for themselves and take their power back. It's happening. It's definitely happening.
And then I want to give a shout out to my friend Jody Roberts, who is a sound healer here in Plano, which is just like 30 minutes from me, and talk about somebody that would be great to have a conversation with. But the work that she does daily for Mother Earth and training people with the sound healing. And then, she's the one that invited me into the 8 a.m., 8 p.m. prayer and honoring Mother Earth and bringing heaven on earth and from our heart is been for me. I can feel the collective energy, but I just want to give a shout out to her because she's been doing these, ceremonies online, just like you're doing what you're doing, and the artists that are showing up and giving just unconditionally. And the invitation is that to support all of our artists and our healers and our teachers and our mystics and our poets, even like if it's $3 given from your heart, give it, to support each other. But Jody's like my star sister, like you're my star brother, and I just wanted to give a shout out to her and everything.
Well, that's brilliant. Thank you. And sweetheart, if people want to send some love to you, where do they send you some love? Tell
them to find me on Facebook. I think it's just my name, Veronica.Valles, V as in Veronica, ALLES .33. If they friend me, have them say to make sure that they're a friend of yours. Because I get a lot of straight men that hit on me.
Yes, sweetheart. I could understand that.
God bless them, but not thinking. Or my email address is just my name. They can do veronicavalles333@gmail.com. And then I'll just, if they come to me on Facebook, I can always send people to my website, the sacredlivingdallas.org for like mindfulness. And just, connect with me on Facebook though, because that's where I am. Send me a message. I'm a friend of Lou's, and let's just love and support each other up and continue with our practices and our art and our creativity and good food and love and connection and laughter. The thing with and my friend Cornell Kinderconnect, if you don't know him, he's an amazing flute player. And my friend Chuck Roundtree and Jane and Jenny, like we laugh. It's like we're not laughing, we're laughing with each other because we need that vibration. Like we've got to have that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. You know, bless your heart, sweetheart. Every time I connect with a spirit guide, they're always very funny, and they're always like, "What are you people so worried about? Just lighten up a little." Yeah,
exactly. So I'm attuned to the metaphysical realm too. You know, I'm just grateful for all the experiences I've had with, like you, that the Pleiadian connection, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron. But my biggest is really Mother Mary and Amma, and both have been such a strong presence of just that love. Because growing up Catholic, you know, there's things that I don't personally right now believe in, but my mother does, and I respect that. But for me, Mother Mary was always that. My mother always said she'll wrap you in her sapphire robe, and there was always that feeling of like, I'm taken care of. And my mother was the same way. So connecting with our guides and our spirit guides and our angels, because I do believe I've had experiences, the light being, you know, I've talked about.
Yeah.
A lot of love and light is being downloaded right now. And we are, like the kids, we do what's called a radiating heart. We put our hands on our heart, and like the sun, we radiate light. And we're like, we do it 3 times, we go, we love you. And so like literally our heart becomes that broadcast station of love. And people will palpably feel it. Like our presence, we walk in, they will palpably feel it. And I had a counselor say to me once, she goes, your presence alone lowers my blood pressure. So let's be that for each other. Let's bring in light and love and joy. And when there's grief, like my friend who lost her son, let me walk in love and compassion, lifting her and lifting all people who've lost their loved ones. Even though I know the soul is.
Okay. I think somebody's battery just died, but that was pretty good timing there. That was pretty brilliant. Yeah, now here she comes. Okay, all right. Yeah.
My God,
we got you back.
Guess my spirit guys think I'm complete.
I think the cups are very full at the moment. You've done a brilliant job, sweetheart.
Yes. A lot of good energy. So I love you, Lou Martin. I am so grateful.
Love you too. Thank you.
You're a soul brother, a star brother. You know, we've got this connection from so many other realms. And I'm just grateful that Facebook, because you're the original person who I know of who's been using Facebook for a long time to share their teachings. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetheart. It's a delight, and you're always a joy to connect with. And let's do this again real soon. And the next time we can just get crazy, spiritual, metaphysical together. How's that sound?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I love you. And thank you to everybody there, and peace and blessings, and happy Easter doll. All right.
Thanks a million. God bless. Bye. Bye for now.